Are you spending hours in the gym and still not seeing the results that your efforts deserve? 3 years ago, I made a change. I opened a personal training studio here in the City of London, and for the 74 people who have seen my previous video, Everything You Should Be Doing in Your Fat Loss Phase, I was going through some stuff. Summary of that video is really simple. That year, I had a lot going on, and I weighed in at 89 kilos. Last week, I weighed in at 80.5. When I tell you that you can train for less time and you can still get great results, I'm not just talking about theory, I'm also talking about my personal experience. I want to be crystal clear. Training for less time is not the same as training with less effort. In fact, I think in this period of time, I've actually trained with a greater degree of effort, but it's just more concentrated. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that I use to help change my body. But the best part, it's shorter, smarter, and more effective. Step 1 is define your goals. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favourable. And that's jargon, really, for if you don't know where you're going, you don't know how to get there. You need to be crystal clear with your goals. Write them down on a piece of paper and be as explicit as you can. If you want to have a bigger squat, or if you want to have bigger arms, you need to be mindful of that. Once you've written down those goals, your training program must match up with those goals. So if you want to be better at squats, you better have squats in your program. Step 2 is simplify everything. Knowledge is piling up facts. Wisdom is their simplification. Most people really make training more difficult than it is. You do not need loads of different exercise variations. You should prioritize the main lifts: squats, bench, deadlift, pull-up, shoulder press, rows. There's probably a couple more, but prioritize the big exercises that get you a long way towards improving your physique. And remove all of the fluff. And fluff can be quite helpful if your goals are very specific. Some people think that lateral raises are a fluff exercise, but I would argue if you want bigger shoulders as your primary goal, it's hard to get much better than a lateral raise. If your goal is muscle gain, everything works from 8 reps to 30 reps. I like to do 5 to 20 and trying to keep a couple of reps in reserve. And a massive missed opportunity is not tracking your sessions. Write it down on a little bit of paper, write it down in your notes app, write it down in an Excel spreadsheet. Whatever it is that you use, just write it down, and that will make sure that you're seeing progress week on week by comparing where you were 6 weeks ago after 6 weeks of hard training. Step 3, progressive overload. Be satisfied with even the smallest amount of progress. That's Marcus Aurelius, the big dog. Progress doesn't come from random workouts, it comes from stacking small improvements over a long period of time. For me, the easiest way to monitor progress is to just try and add a repetition each week. That's rule number 2 again, which is the simplification of everything. I like to do it that way. I don't want to be changing my weights too frequently. I just like to just try, ask the question, can I do 1 more rep than I did the previous week? If the answer to that question is yes, then you're making progress. And that's how you build strength and muscle, small, manageable steps over a long period of time. Range of movement. Here are the rules, and these are, in my opinion, rules. Be strong across the full range of the exercise. If you're doing squats, take the weight all the way down and stand the weight all the way up. You want to be able to control the weight. You don't want the weight to control you. So if you're doing a deadlift and it's bending you out of shape and you're not intending to move in that way or change the weight, make sure that you're doing a degree of control over the movement. I used to chase numbers non-stop in Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. I have started to chase control of those weights now, and that has made a big difference. So that's one big tip, is to scale the weight back and really control the weight. Full range of movement is so important when you're low on time because it gives you so many more benefits of just the strength training. Training through a full range of movement is safe, it gets you stronger, and it also increases your flexibility all at the same time. And hopefully, just hopefully, it might help keep you injury free. although possibly slightly overstated. I think full range of movement is probably as close to a training hack as you can get. Step 5 is repeatability, and this is probably the one that people miss out on the most of the benefit from. Because results don't come from one perfect workout, they come from a series of good enough workouts over a long enough period of time to have an impact on muscle and strength. It goes back to that progressive overload. It's lots of continuous wins week after week that add up and have the most amount of difference. So by following these simple steps, you'll make your training more impactful. It will be shorter and more effective. Hopefully, you'll then be able to see results in the gym without having to spend an unbelievable amount of time in the gym. I've used this system myself and it was less time and actually less pain. I feel like scaling back some of the amounts of time that I was in the gym just chasing numbers, and it would just feel like my back had been attacked by a sledgehammer. And now it feels a bit moody, but I can train more regularly because I'm doing less or shorter. So imagine this, it's a 40-minute workout and you feel better, you look better, and you're stronger. It's got to be a win. If you're struggling with anything in your training, why not put it in the comments, and if I've fixed that thing that you're struggling with, I'll let you know. And if I haven't, then we can complain about how hard that thing is, and then we can fix it. Sound like fun?